Hello and welcome back to Wingot Plays Nomifactory. I was taking a little bit of a look at the things that we need to do to make SMD components and realized that for the most part we've actually done everything that will make this quite simple. Gallium plates, well, I already processed a whole lot of those tiny piles of gallium. It's double L. So I've got 753 there. I've already made 40 plates out of that. The polyethylene, we've already automated the infinite production of that. And fine annealed copper wire, well, I had already created a blast furnace with a recipe to make annealed copper. And I'd already set a job to create 200 of that, which is now just sitting here. The SMD resistor, carbon dust, well, we've already got plenty of carbon sitting in the system. 175 plus 300 carbon dust, because we were processing all of that in the centrifuge. It was the coke dust in the centrifuge, which we got from macerating the coke that I was producing from that pyrolysis oven. So this recipe, we've got a decent chunk of carbon dust just sitting there in the system. And when it does start to run low, we could probably pretty easily start using rubber wood in a centrifuge to make some more, and it would get us that methane that we were looking at previously. Alternatively, we could even just make charcoal or coal and make carbon dust out of those. So, because we've got infinite coal being produced with our deep mob learning, and charcoal, of course, is just wood. So that is definitely a non-issue. Fine electron wire, we already know how to make that in the system, and again, polyethylene. And then here, aluminium foil, well, we've got automated infinite aluminium foil coming into this system. Thin polyvinyl chloride sheets, well, we've just made polyvinyl chloride, and again, polyethylene. So in order to make all of these, all we need to do is go here to the pattern terminal and give it the various recipes, and then the one thing the system doesn't know how to do yet is these thin polyvinyl chloride sheets, but it knows how to make polyvinyl chloride sheets, which is the input to the cluster mill to make the thin polyvinyl chloride sheets. Yes. So if we just go here, go to our cluster mill, we can literally put that one in there, and then these three can just go into the assembler, which has, not the assembler, the assembling machine, which has our, what's it called in it? Our polyethylene in it. And the polyethylene is currently being used. Those are being made in the soldering alloy. The polyethylene, I believe, is being used to make MV machine casings or holes. Yeah, polyethylene is making MV machine holes. So why can I not see? Oh, here we go, polyethylene assembler. I actually gave it that one a name. So we can just put all three of these in there, and we should be able to make all three of those types of SMDs with no difficulty at all. Let's give it jobs to create all three. That one needs the fine annealed copper wire, which I did forget about. So fine annealed copper wire again. Well, that's a wire mill, not a cluster mill recipe, but otherwise very simple. Wire mill is completely full, so we're going to need to add one more wire mill into the system in order to finish the job. This will need an interface, and because I know what downstairs looks like, it is also going to need some energetic alloy, and I'm going to have to show it on the edge for the time being because I'm out of space in these groups of fours. But for the time being, we can put it right here. We can tell it to output to the top and also accept input from the same side. put that interface on the top, and there we go. Fine annealed copper in this wire mill. Perfect. And then all we need to do is head over here, pop back upstairs, and that third SMD, which has not yet been crafted, just needs annealed copper wire, which can easily be made in a wire mill. Perfect. And what we might do is we might actually move something. So we've got fine electrum and electrum both being made by the same machine there. So we'll move it so that annealed copper and fine annealed are on different machines. Perfect. Now that will just craft in the background. And again, I've got a job going to produce a whole lot of energetic alloy while we just sit here waiting. As I said, in future, I'll make those recipes passive so that it just automatically makes energetic alloy and vibrant alloy. But for the time being, they're unfortunately still manual processes. But that SMD should produce, except for the fact that I did not hit the output button on that machine that I placed down here. So the fine copper, oh, and I didn't give it power. But we can hit that output button and we can give it power. Perfect. There we go. And that looks like it's done. Perfect. And the SMDs appear to be substantially quicker to make and also make in a larger bulk than the previous processes that are used for the refined circuits and arrays and processors. There is one last one, this SMD Diode, which we could teach the system to make. Polyethylene, small pile of gallium dust, no trouble. Fine platinum wire. Well, we haven't yet done platinum at all. We do somehow have 3 platinum ingots, although those probably came from some random platinum maybe that I found out in the world. I'm not quite sure on that, to be honest. But I was looking into platinum and it does look like platinum is the intended way of making platinum is with the fusion reactor using beryllium tungsten 32,000 EU per tick, and so seems to be quite far away from something that we could automate passively. And yeah, as I say, I'm not quite sure where I got these 3. Maybe they were just in a random Lost Cities chest, but we also don't need that SMD diode. Yeah, we do. So we're the first tier 4 circuit, the refined processor mainframe uses SMD diodes. So I might need to look into making SMD diodes. So I would suspect, given the power requirements to make platinum, that we probably need to go out into the world and mine some. I will have to look into that. But for now, let's just throw this into the system. Fine platinum wires, perfect. And fine platinum wires are of course made in a wire mill, and perfect, there we go. Now if we take a look at our wire mills, let's move fine silver wire. Fine, let's just move a couple of them. Annealed. There we go. We'll make it so that all of the fine wires are being made in this same machine. There we go. And we need the assembling machine, which is the polyethylene assembling machine to make those SMD diodes. And if we go here, tell it to make that. It's missing small pile of gallium dust because I think we've got tiny piles. We've got tiny piles of gallium dust. Now it knows how to convert those into gallium dust, but then we just need a recipe to convert that back into small piles, because small piles is 4:1 instead of 9:1, and so it's a slightly different recipe. Now that can easily go into a random molecular assembler. There we go. Perfect. And then we should be able to make those SMDs. Did I make a mistake? Oh, tiny pile. That. Huh. How do you. Gallium to. Oh, I think maybe it needs to be in that top slot? No. Give me a second. I'm going to have a little bit of a play around with this and see what we can figure out. You give me a gallium dust. Let's clear that. If we put that there, we get 9. If we put that there... It looks like we get 4 in these outer slots, but in these inner slots here we get 9. So I think JEI is just a little messed up there, unfortunately. But easy to do. So if we take that gallium dust and put it down there, boom, 4 small piles. Good. Now we can put that back into there, and now we can go back and make those SMDs finally. Perfect, that'll make 32 of those SMD diodes. Perfect. Now the refined processor mainframe, I believe I've already taught the system to make. I just didn't expect to be able to make it anytime soon. Those diodes, oh, maybe they take 2 minutes to make the 32 of them. So that's just going to take a while. But in the meantime, let's take a quick look here. The refined, yes, so we had already put the recipe in for the refined processor mainframe. If we tell that to craft, then it is going to, I think, try to craft. Oh, no. Did the SMD diodes finish? Oh, there we go. The SMD diodes have actually finished. So if we take a look here at the refined processor, let's just look at that. It uses 120 EU per tick. I'm on the tier where I'm only producing 128 EU per tick, so I don't think... Oh, right, that's the power usage. It takes 20 seconds to make those diodes. I just misread. So this refined processor mainframe will use 2 of these refined processor arrays and another 8 of these refined processors. So I think it needs 4 of these refined processor arrays. We can easily have a look at that. Oh, it only needs 2. So I don't think any of these other steps need... Why? Okay. Oh, it's crafting 2 of these refined processor arrays. We don't actually have any on us at the moment. So let's just tell it to craft those 2 just by themselves for the time being, because I did notice one other thing. This is going to need the stainless steel frame, which I had not yet taught the system to make, but should be fairly simple to make. Here we go, configuration 1, stainless steel rods, stainless steel plates. Well, let's get rid of that circuit. Stainless steel, I have taught the system to make plates, and to make rods, perfect. And I've got 58 stainless steel sitting there. And we can't tell it to make hundreds more because we need more rubies. But I'll come back to that later. In the meantime, this was just it was an assembling machine recipe. So one of these should be set to maybe that one. Let's take a quick look. Invar frame. Invar frame is set using configuration 1, and this stainless steel frame is set using configuration 1. So that should work if this one works. Let's have a quick look. Stainless steel frame. Make that go. Just got to wait on it to make the rods. Done. And then that will craft... How long does this take? This one takes 10 seconds. Oh, I could have just gone here. Yeah, 10 seconds. And looks like it's been crafted. Perfect. There we go. So now we've got the 2 arrays, and we should be able to tell it to just craft this refined processor mainframe. Perfect. And it shouldn't even take all that long because all the components have been made, so it's just going to take this 25 seconds here. And then we'll have our first tier 4 circuit. Perfect. Now let's have a quick look here. We need, well, annealed copper. We've made it, I've just never taken it out of the system. So let's take one of those. Perfect. And then we'll take one of each of the SMDs, the surface mount devices, because I'm sure that's going to be the next quest. There you go, those three. And interestingly, it doesn't actually require us to make the SMD diodes. Even though, no, I see it. It doesn't have the mainframe showing up anywhere here on our early game, basically our MV tier. What's going on there? It claims I finished the SMD diode because I had made that. Perfect. In regards to the platinum, I did also notice there is a platinum ore that you can buy with omniquarters as well. So it's something that we potentially can get enough to get by and not even have to go back out mining. But for the time being, there we go. It looks like we've got lots of pinging away happening. Refined circuits have been done. Good. Refined processors. Okay, I guess I just haven't taken these ones out of the system. So let's make another array. Let's make another processor. There we go. And then we'll take those out of the system. And that's not pinging, probably because there's another quest in the way. Here we go. So SMD diodes, the second tier 3 circuits. Okay. So it's going to... Oh, because I need to make this array before I can actually access my mainframe, which obviously makes sense. But why is that making resistors? I didn't think this... Oh, because I haven't actually changed the recipes over. Yeah, I need to change these refined recipes over to actually use the new SMDs. So if we just pop here and we look for the refined, then all three of these will go into the same as the refined mainframe, so that's perfect. We'll be able to find it later. And then this changes over to that recipe, and in future it'll change over to this system on a chip, which produces 4 in 2.5 seconds instead of 4 in 10 seconds, but that does use 600 EU per tick, and it uses these systems on a chip that we don't have access to yet. We need a nether star lens and naquita doped wafers to get anywhere near that. But for the time being, we can do this process. They're exactly the same, but we're actually using soldering alloy. But that doesn't matter because this recipe doesn't know what fluid it needs to use. This refined processor, again, using our SMDs. And finally, this processor array, using the plastic circuit boards and SMDs. Perfect. Now, if we put all of those back in, there we go, then it should be a lot quicker to actually make these than it was using the previous systems. That looks like it's crafting some SMDs, so it must have been low, which I'm actually a bit surprised by. I had already made 2 of these arrays, and these arrays use 2 each, but 4 processors, and the 4 processors would have used 2 each, so that's 8 there, plus if they had to create the circuits, although those recipes all happened without even knowing about the diodes. So it was actually this. I made 1 of these, which... Yeah, okay, I'm not quite sure on why they all had to craft lots of SMDs there, but there we go. We've got a refined processor, we've got a refined processor array. Perfect. That should, there you go. We've completed the processor, we've completed the array, and we've completed the mainframe. Perfect. With all of those automated, we can put those back in. There we go. We'll put the mainframe back in because we do not need that for the time being. Perfect. So that's a lot of progress made in a fairly short period of time. Now the HV machine hull, let's take a look here. We've done the SMDs, perfect. HV machine hull is something that we were looking to make. I think it's pretty simple to make as well. It's just going to take polyethylene, fine, we've got that. HV machine casing, I'm sure we can make that. Gold cable, we can easily make that. So here, what did I say? I said polyethylene, perfect. And then this HV machine casing is just going to be made with a circuit 8 and a stainless steel plate. Perfect. Now, if we look at the previous casing machines, they are set up in the one with the integrated circuit saying 8, and apparently also with tin in it. And then if we look here at our polyethylene, that's making our machine hull, and it can also make our HV machine hull. In future, these can be moved. They're currently set to a configuration 3 card, but if this continues to fill up, we'll just need to move those and that configuration card somewhere else. But that means we should be able to make HV machine hull straight away. Oh, of course I did that, didn't I? Now, which one? No, it wouldn't be the polyethylene. It would be the HV machine casing. Let's do that so that we can find it later. And there it is. Always, well, not always actually, but often forget when there is a chip there. Perfect. Now that should work. Good. And that'll create, let's say we want to create 10. We've got everything we would need. It does look like it would have to craft up more stainless steel, but we've got everything in the system that we would need. There is a bit of a ruby shortage. So we can't go heavy into HV, but we at least can create one. Perfect. And that will allow us to start moving into HV later on as well. That, interesting, we got $1 from that. Ooh, basic air collection. That was obviously tied behind the HV machine. Basic air collection, fine, and air centrifuging. Centrifuging air is a reliable way to get nitrogen. Okay. And we've already made a centrifuge. Perfect. Now, in here, the distillation tower, we still need to make. The multi-smelter, I think, probably can be made pretty easily at this point. And then over here, we've got the fluid storage and fluid terminals and that sort of thing, plus the larger item storages for Applied Energistics. So, let's first actually have a look at the larger storages. So, storage cells. Does it want storage cells or does it want just storage components? Okay, then the components are easy. What components have we got? Storage component. We've taught the system how to make 1K, 4K, 16K. And let's actually get it to craft each of those. And then we just need to teach it how to make a 64K, which is going to use that mainframe that we just made. But that will mean that we could finally actually make a 64K crafting storage because that uses a 64K ME storage component plus a crafting unit. Awesome. Now, with that done, let's make a 16 and a 4. Perfect. Now, this is just a... Yep, it's just a molecular assembler recipe. Perfect. There you go. And let's tell it to make that. It will craft all of the subcomponents because there's not yet those other crafts completed. And in time, that will get us all 4 of those done. Now, let's have a quick look at our crafting. So we're in the system, it knows how to make 16Ks, it knows how to make crafting coprocessor units. What I might just do is change it. So instead of the 16K, there you go. Instead of that 16K storage component, we'll instead just change that over so that it's a 64K. Because now that we've got those available, I don't think I'll be looking to make a 16K specifically again, and that will make it, that will allow us to expand our crafting storage even further. That said, at the moment, we've got a setup down here where it's got 48K? Yeah, 48K crafting storage for each of these 6 pillars. Plus each of them has 3 crafting coprocessors. But in future, I'll probably condense those down, have 1 or 2 64Ks, and then an extra crafting coprocessor on top. And then eventually that'll become 2 columns wide, But yes, for the time being, the setup as it stands is doing a fairly decent job for our crafting requirements. There we go, I see a 16K. I would have thought by now I'd see a 4K, but probably the processing steps to get to the 4K were blocked by the 16K, which got to the job first, and then that should give us those two quests done, and then we just have to wait on the 64K to finish, and we'll get that quest as well. Perfect. Now, the fluid interface, fluid terminal, I'm sure those are easy enough, so let's take a quick look. Fluid interface. Okay, so we can't make that, we need to make this. Lapis plates. I don't think the system knows how to make lapis plates, but I'm assuming it's easy enough. Okay, so the thermal expansion compactor, but we've not actually made one of these. It looks like we probably can. Minor infused. I haven't yet looked at, we don't actually have the power tier to even make that. So I will not worry about minor infused for the time being, but we can go to the cutting saw here, and it's just a lapis block, makes 9 lapis plates. Perfect. System doesn't actually know how to make lapis blocks, so let's tell it how to do that as well. The lapis block there, and cutting machine, which is starting to get a little full, but there we go, and that will allow us to make, we'll make 10, done. And that should be done fairly quickly. There you go, 9 have been done. What is it, 10 seconds? 22.4 seconds? Oh, but it's only 30 EU per tick, so I think it's overclocking. That's why it was as fast as it was. Why do I see lapis plates there? That was a graphical glitch. Okay, perfect. Now, that there, perfect. ME fluid interface. Can go there and make a ME fluid interface. Now we want one Fluix cable so that we can put this up top here. Perfect. And now we've got a fluid interface. Oh, that's an interface. I was after the fluid terminal. We will need these fluid interfaces, but yeah, that's not what I was chasing. Okay, ME fluid terminal. Okay, I want one of those, which is a lapis plate. Ooh. Illuminated panel. Good, and we want the logic processors. Let's make 10 of those. Ooh, why is so much involved in making one of those? SMD resistors. Oh, because it needs to make the refined circuits. Okay, step 1, we'll make 2 of those. There you go. And then step 2, let's actually tell it to make more of these refined things. What have I got going on in the background here? You're making that 64K. Okay. We'll leave that for now. Good, we've got one processor, which is all we need. And, oh, an ME terminal, which probably I should teach the system how to make ME terminals. But in the meantime, oh. I thought I told it to make the illuminated panel. It's waiting on a compressor, and probably the compressor is being used for these red alloy plates. Yeah. So soon, yeah, so as soon as those red alloy plates finish, it will be able to create our illuminated board, our illuminated panel, which will allow us to get the ME fluid terminal. But in the meantime, there we go, fluid interface, perfect. Now we could use that in the same way as we use a normal interface, except instead of it having the sort of the 9 items across the top and crafting patterns, it holds fluids. That one's that's where you can configure what items you want it to show, and then down here it can import fluids, or it displays the fluids that you've told it that you want it to show to the system. And then we also would need some ME fluid drives, I'm sure, but that will come with time. There you go, we've got our terminal, and there you go, ME fluid terminal, which can go up here on top where I was trying to originally put it, and perfect. And so then that's a terminal that's then just showing us all of the fluids that are available in the system. Now, let's see, I'm sure it'll tell us we need to make fluid storage, there we go. And ME fluid storage components. So, ME fluid storage components, 1K, 64K, 16K, yep, okay. So we'll start just by making these 1Ks, good, and that can just go into a molecular assembler here, perfect, and then that's the 16K, 64K is not yet made, okay. I wonder, there you go, 1K fluid, let's grab that. And it shouldn't take all that long. In the meantime, we'll tell this to make a few spare logic processors and let that craft away in the background. There you go, nope, that's the standard one. Why is fluid taking that long? It's making some pure Certus quartz, which should be, I think that should be pretty instant. Let's just have a quick look down here, because the pure Certus quartz should be going into the, oh, hello Enderman. Oh, here, the crystal growth chamber is where that pure, oh, okay, looks like it's done. I'm just surprised with how long it did take. Boom. Okay, good. So there's our 1K ME fluid storage. Perfect. And that, along with a storage housing, which the system doesn't actually know how to make, I don't think. So, ME storage housing. Yeah. Is he messing around? If he's going to play around, I might just need to go kill him. Electrical steel, awesome, and then that can go there. Good. That can make a storage housing. How do you not know how to make fine red alloy wire? Okay, where's the wire mills? And then that can go here. What's that? Oops. That can go there. Red alloy wire. Oh yeah, fine. Okay. Whatever. Make that. That should be fairly quick. It just needs to, yep, make the red alloy and the electric steel plates. And as soon as those are done, perfect. Then we can combine that with that to make a 1K ME fluid storage cell, which would allow us to pop down here, go to this drive. I'll take out one of these blank cells. I'm going to need to make some more drives, but now that we've gotten rid of that cell, we can go here and put water into our system, and that water will then sit, there you go, in that cell. And with that and these fluid interfaces, we will be able to import things like the polyvinyl chloride and the ethylene into the system as a fluid. We'll also be able to grab, for example, this sulfuric acid, which is just sitting there and not creating any more, but it's far more than this system needs. So we could move this so that it produces sulfuric acid somewhere else and pumps out into this machine. Or if there's another machine that needs sulfuric acid, then we don't need to set up another system with water, oxygen, sulfur dust. It'll just be able to output from the ME fluid system. It also means that for things that need fluids, so here we need polyethylene, 64 buckets of it can fit in this machine, but the fluid extractor down here is holding the polyethylene that is going into that. So we've got 64 buckets here, plus we've got almost 64 buckets here, and we've got 64 ingots here. And to take that a step further, each polyethylene ingot only makes 144 millibuckets. So this 64 buckets of spare polyethylene is 7 stacks, I think, somewhere around there, of polyethylene ingots that's just sitting there, not being used, which could instead go into the ME system and be available to anything that needs polyethylene. But it's about time to wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching. Stay healthy and happy, and I hope to see you in the next one.